Hello, it's February 2024, and after nearly 100 years on this planet, my mum's time has finally come. For my final visits to Mum, I was delighted to be able to cycle over the Cotswolds again, first time in 4 years. Mum taught me many things. One of the most important was to wring every last bit of enjoyment out of life, and especially the little things in life: fresh air, exercise, sunshine, wonderful architecture, so I could feel that life was good as I cycled over those hills. As we got closer to the care home, though, my heart would sink. 1,000 days is too long to spend in a dementia ward, even though they had very caring staff. Mum knew there were worse things than dying. Mum was now confined to bed, seemingly asleep, though the staff thought that she knew everything that was going on, and so did I. When I arrived, Mum would whip out her hand, and we would simply hold hands, the oldest form of communication. The antibiotics had now stopped, and the life-sustaining steroids had been taken down to an absolute minimum. This allowed a wonderful thing to happen. Mum took back control of her own life. She had many theories about death. I don't know if it was high tide when she died, but one of her most favourite sayings was that people would wait for a loved one. And I think it was very fitting that her firstborn, Janet, was there when she died. I'd had a long time to prepare for Mum's passing, and at the end it gave me a sense of relief. This was in enormous contrast to Nigel's passing, which was totally unexpected and came down to pure grief. I felt this very strongly walking through Abbey grounds on the way to the Woolchurch, because we went right past Mum's house on the way to rehearsals and funeral. We were doing a talk in the old Woolchurch, and I was very, very grateful to have my old friends Gordon and Ian talking with me. Janet had organised a beautiful funeral for Nigel. The church was full of light and music, friends and family, and Gordon, Ian and myself did a talk, though it was a talk that none of us had ever wanted to do. Amongst all this sadness, a wonderful thing happened. My boys turned up spontaneously, and I didn't realise until they were actually there how much I needed them to be. The kind of mantle was passing on. They were looking after me. And Granny had looked after them all the way through their childhood, and she thought that she would live on through her children and grandchildren. And if you do the maths, I reckon there's 1.25 grannies standing here. And so life goes on. Matt and Amber came up to see us, and we went out for a Thai meal with Kat to the railway, which was great. Followed by a trip to Tewkesbury the next day. A couple of things in Tewkesbury. Of course, there's the Abbey. There was a bit of a remarkable globe-type exhibition there, but the real highlight has to be the cathedral itself. Tewkesbury Abbey. Look at this. Noise behind us of the installation. Look at this roof. There it comes. How fantastic is that? There's a fine range of stained glass. This is the modern stuff. I really like it. This is the kind of beginning of the 20th century and a little bit older with Last Supper. And you even get some stuff from monastic times as well. This was preparation of the best beef Wellington ever. And the next day, off to the Bathurst Arms for a walk. This is old North Cerney church, a sort of church that Mum would have loved, and would have been a big conversation which we had about its age. And we kind of worked it out. There was kind of a Norman tower, 13th century chancel, and beautiful things inside. And basically, we love it when we get visitors. We've got 7 kids between us and their partners, and we always have a good time, so that's great. We had gone to see the snowdrops. We saw them, and we saw Cerney House as well, so that was good. Another trip was one that Mel and I took to the Ashmolean in Oxford, on about colour. This is a great bit of stained glass. Some of the stuff wasn't too original. These are all kind of views of Venice, which I think have been kind of a bit massively overdone. Don't show much colour to me. And if you're not going to do Venice, well, let's do Beautiful Women instead. There's a little bit better use of colour, if you ask me, in these ones here. Here we are lounging around pretty happily. But nothing stunning. This bird, of course, does have colour, and birds was another theme that we kind of came into. This is one of my favourites. It's about Egypt and Pharaoh's times. This is pretty freaky, no colour at all, with arsenic. And this was my favourite use of colour, a Japanese print,
We're in the Ashmolean, so we went off to look at the Arthur jewel and basically Anglo-Saxon jewellery. And did you know there was an army in Cirencester, the Great Danish Army? Well, there was. And then on to Oxford for Matthew's graduation, the only graduation of my boys that I've been to. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was just great. There's a beautiful hall in the Wills building. Here's Matthew with his chums getting ready to go up to collect his masters, a distinction. We're very proud of Matthew. And you see this procession. Here we have the PhD boys that was particularly liked. There we go. Raucous applause for Matthew. It was great being by that door because we saw all these happy people coming out. We have to then obligatory photographs, looking good, and don't be fooled by the sunshine because Matthew took us for the walk of death through rain-sodden Bristol to get at cream tea supper. We're back into Cirencester now, and here's old Gary, look, and you can see the gardeners have been busy because they're getting ready for springtime. It's been a very mild and a very wet winter. You can see the kind of Cooper's field here. But so mild, I've been able to do the lawn, and I reckon the daffs are about 3 weeks ahead of schedule. My favourite flower, my mum's favourite flower. The Hebes are looking very bright. That's excellent. We've had a magnificent camellia display despite the squirrel's best efforts. And Mel, well, she's worked really, really hard, but she's also looking extremely lovely here. And then finally, well, Darius and Ellie came up. We went for another walk up to Broadway, past another Cotswold church. We had a great time. You can see the views here, way, way down over towards the Welsh Hills. Here's Darius and Ellie with the tower. Then we're going to stick Mum in there as well. And I managed to sneak my way into the photograph. And on the way down, if you see a bench, you sit on it. We went on holiday. There'll be a separate video of this. There were 7 of us, not 8. Janet came along, which was just great. Very good in Madeira. And then finally leaving you with this video, which Mum would have loved. She loved sheep. Her dad was brought up on a hill farm. She used to love the little lambs. She did a mean roast lamb. She was a great cook. And here she is on the beach with a beautiful photograph taken by Megan. And, you know, Mum, she was my mummy. She was my guide, and she was my best friend. Bye-bye, Mum.